Hi ghouls! As you can see, I'm doing a face video. I'm gonna try it out. I don't know if I like it or not. Let me know in the comments. But this is the second episode, I guess, technically, in my new little series called Lady Killers, which I'm really excited about, and I saw a lot of you ghouls actually really liked the first one, and I figured, why not try like a face video for it? So I have all my notes on my iPad, all handwritten after I researched and whatnot. So I hope you ghouls enjoy it because I'm super excited, and this lady killer is like, if you really like serial killers and female serial killers, she is like amazing. Like, I really like this. It's really interesting, and I know it's like a little messed up for us to be so into serial killers, but like, it's really interesting. So first off, her name, Vera Renczi. She is Romanian. She was born in the early 1900s, from what I remember. And in the 1930s is when she actually started her murdering. Just random. It's not random. You'll see it as we go along. But she actually was married twice. The first man she was married to was an Austrian banker. So he made that money, man. And he just started working a lot of hours, and she started to get really suspicious and wondering, you know, why is he not home when he should be home? You know, normal, I guess, normal wife things. And allegedly she found out that he was cheating on her, being unfaithful in the marriage, and eventually he just kind of left without any knowing about it, which is what she told people anyway. He left. So there she was. Not even a year later, she found another man who she married, and not really much about him. I was about to say, I don't remember anything about him really, other than after a couple of months he left, and it was just her and her son. After he left, allegedly, so she says she got a letter from him saying, hey, I'm not coming back, sorry, bye. Pretty much, you know, Cliff Note version, like, I'm not coming back, goodbye. So after that, she just, you know, gave up on marriage. She started seeing a lot of men, which, I mean, good for you, girl. You do you. But she started having a lot of men coming into her life, and what she would do is lure the men to her. Obviously, she had money from both marriages, and she was just a very wealthy woman. Between only herself, like, having the money and also having it from marriages, she had a lot of money. And allegedly, so they say, she was breathtakingly beautiful. So it was really easy for her to lure men to her, because she rich and she hot. She got like the two things you need to get like a man's attention, and she would only go after married men is her thing. And she'd get them, bring them back to her house. She'd make them a beautiful, you know, home-cooked dinner, tea. They'd have some wine, that kind of thing. She'd like wine and dine them, if you will. And what she would do is actually put a poison into their food. Only their food. Obviously, she wouldn't poison herself. But she'd put the poison in their food, and it was arsenic. She used arsenic, which is a very common form of poison used throughout the centuries. Even still now, people are using arsenic to get rid of people and kill rats and all that kind of thing. So it's still very much around. It's very prominent now, and it was back then. She would put it in their food, and at first they just start to feel a little bit ill, a little bit, you know, their stomach would be upset. They'd be like, oh, I don't feel right. And she'd be like, oh, it's okay, you know, maybe just keep eating. And what arsenic does is it like destroys the inside of your stomach, and it will cause like your guts, your blood cells, and everything like that to just like fill with blood. So it's not a very fun way to die. And what she would do is, while they were dying, she'd be like, yeah, I slipped you a little arsenic in your food, that's why you're dying. Oh, another thing, because of this, you're never leaving me. Which, I mean, if you think about it, her husband's allegedly left, which I'll get into that as we go. She was like, you know, now you can never freaking leave me because I killed you and you're still here. Which, you know, whatever. You do you, girl. And I really like this. I really like it. It makes me sound nuts, but like, it gets really good and interesting. After the man died, what she would do is she would take them down to her basement. And because she was a rich, wealthy woman, she had a wine cellar type basement. And she had a giant zinc casket. So what she would do is she would put them in the zinc casket and keep them downstairs, almost like a trophy, like a collection of her corpses and her men. And because they were zinc, which back in the day, zinc was the most expensive coffin you can get, it would make an airtight seal. So, you know, nothing would get in and get out. So it would help with delaying the decomposition, as well as her wine cellar. Since it was a cellar and it was wine, it was cool. It was also a little bit damp down there because it was a cellar. It made like the perfect atmosphere and environment for these bodies to actually remain quite preserved. What would actually happen was, because of the little bit cooler temperatures, the airtightness, the dampness, it made like the perfect ingredients, if you will, to do a certain type of mummification, which what happens to the body is it will start to decompose, but slowly, and it'll like bubble up, and it'll get like a soapy substance on top of it. I know there's a name for it, I can't pronounce it, I don't remember what it is, but it'll cover the body and it will harden, so they almost turn into like statues. So they were very well preserved, and what she would allegedly do is she would go down and she would talk to these men that she murdered. She would talk to them, act like they're still alive, tell them things, talk to them, you know, because in her mind, they were hers, you know, they're still her men. She brought them here, you know, she would talk to them. All right, so this went on for quite a long while, a very long while, until eventually one of the married men, because they were all married, one of the men's wives were getting very suspicious that he would leave and then come back really, really late. So what she did was she followed him one day to Vera's house, and she stayed there for a while, and she realized, you know, hey, why isn't my man coming out? Whatever. She went home, she waited, he never came home, so she actually phoned police, and she was like, you know, this is what happened, he's at this place, this is the address, maybe go check it out. And when police went there, you know, they investigated, the whole top of her house was normal, and when they went down to the cellar is when they found 32 zinc coffins. So yeah, they were all filled with these dead bodies, and soon enough she actually admitted, yeah, I killed them. And she was pretty dang proud of it. And I mean, after you kill 32 men, why not be proud of it? So she confessed that how she killed them was poisoning them, and that she would, you know, keep them down in her basement, and she would admit that she would just go down there, sit in a chair, and just sit amongst her deceased men, is what she would do. After that, she admitted that she had actually killed her first two husbands as well, in the same fashion. And she actually killed her son as well. He actually went there one day, you know, I'm assuming he was like, you know, I'm going to go down and get a bottle of wine from the cellar. He went down, he saw all of these coffins with all of these bodies, and of course she did not want her secret getting out. So what did she do? But of course poison her own flesh and blood and kill him, and then dispose of the body, which she admitted to. So in the end, she killed a total of 35 men, like undetected, until this random freaking lady was, you know, suspicious of her husband and found out. Like, if that lady didn't happen, she would probably be doing this for a long ass time. And she was actually obviously convicted of these 35 murders and was sentenced to life in prison, because back then it was illegal to put a woman to death, to give her the death penalty, to execute her. So she actually just lived out the rest of her days in a prison, and it was not very long because she actually died of a cerebral hemorrhage. So she did die in prison. So yeah, 35 people this woman had murdered over her lifetime, which is both scary and amazing at the same time. This is why I really like female serial killers. Like, she got away with this for years. Like, these other men's wives never, like, oh, I wonder where he went. They probably just assumed he skipped town with his mistress, I'm guessing. So yeah, like, I really liked Vera. I'm gonna call her Vera. She was amazing, and she is still right now the #1 like serial killer, like highest body count, I think, in Romania. So I just find this fascinating. Like, females are so good at killing. Like, it's scary. Like, she thought all of this out methodically. Like, this was all premeditated. She knew exactly how to do it in a way to do it that no one would be suspicious of her. You know, oh, poor lady, these poor, you know, these men walking in and out of her life, this poor woman, boo-hoo-hoo, when behind closed doors, she's murdering them and keeping them in her basement to talk to. But if you ghouls like this, let me know if you would rather like a face video like this, or if you would rather like my regular voiceover type work. Just let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week for another Lady Killers episode. Bye, ghouls.